we're going to show people how to do the plotting. We're going to do a 3-point fix. But before we do that, I want to show you a couple other things. One of them is measuring distances. We have a big issue sometimes with people not understanding how to do it. So we're going to go from ZZ to H here. So I put my divider right in the small circle and it extends it out to the dot in the middle. We want to make sure these are very exact. Then I come over to the side and I grab any full 1 minute. So these are 1 minute increments, the difference in the colors. So I always start and count to the next full minute. That's 1, that's 2, and what I have here is 2.5 is what I would count. When you count full minutes, always count to the edge and not to the middle, because that's where you end up making mistakes. So we have 1, 2, 2.2 nautical miles from ZZ to H. Okay, now let's do a 3-point fix and using the compass rose. The compass rose can be placed any place on the chart. That's up to the cartographer. All it gives us is an angle. It's very important. All it gives us is an angle that we can do our fixes off of. And we're going to use the outer part of the rose, not the inner part. That's magnetic. The other outer part is true. And of course, the variation for the chart is on the inside of the compass rose. Here we have a variation of 9. So we have 3-point fixes, and we're going to go to C, D, and G, and this will give us our location. So G is at 083. So what I do is I make sure I go through the very center of the rose, the little X there, and I'm going to find 083, which should be right about there. And again, I'm making sure that everything's lined up between this and the outer rose. Now with rolling rulers, you press down, lean back slightly, and roll it over. So we're going to roll it over to our middle point of G. Sharp pencil, and I simply draw a line. So we're in here someplace, we look back at G, and it was our bearing that we took. C is at 213, so find 213 here, which is going to be down here, and I do the same thing. So I line it up through that little X right here, and I find 213, which would be right there, and I'm going to take that to C. So again, I tip it back slightly, roll it over, line it up with the X, or the little dot rather, extend it out. Okay, that's 2 by 3. The third one is D at 141, and these are all per true. So I'm going to find 141, which will be right there. So again, make sure you got a 141, and the little X in the middle, which is very important, very accurate that way. Again, I always use the outer rose, and I'm going to go to D. And our D is right there. Okay, again, make sure they move on you sometimes. So let's do it again. We got our 141. In fact, this is a good lesson in the sense that when I'm using smaller piece of paper, I always want to make sure the roller stays on the paper itself. So there's our 141. I'm going to roll it back again to D. And again, I use the base of the mark. And there's our 3-point fix. So what we've done is we used the outer part of the rose. We make sure it's properly sized up. If we measure distances like we did from ZZ to H, we use a full minute and then we count the full minutes. Remember now, we only use the latitude scale. And on latitude scale, we're going from 0 or 40 to 45. So there's 5 minutes there. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And again, always count on the lines. Don't count in the middle when you count full minutes.